Shalom to the elect of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. Got to give our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Korash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, and the sincere salutations to all the Akim preaching this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hope of the elect. Shalom to the Abba who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah coming into another lesson in truth, fact, faith, and edification. Now I'm going to play a couple minutes of this video. This video is about how the USS Liberty was bombed in 1967 by Israel, okay? So Rick Wild has three dudes here that was on the USS Liberty and the account of that day. I'm not going to play all of this, just a couple points because I got a couple other videos to go, through the spirit. So these Edomites giving you an account of what happened that day. And the reason I'm doing this video because North America is joined with Israel on everything. Trump is dedicating everything to be joined with Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew. Okay? So Lord's willing, be edifying.
Welcome to a special edition of True News. I'm Rick Wiles. This is part 2 of our Memorial Day 2019 recognition and the honoring of brave veterans of the USS Liberty, the most decorated ship in the U.S. Navy for single action. I encourage you to share this 2-part report with your friends and family. The USS Liberty was attacked on June 8, 1967 during the Six-Day War in the Middle East. The aggressor was the Zionist state of Israel. It was not an accident and it was not an incident. Israel deliberately attacked a U.S. Navy vessel, killed and wounded many American men. Israel's intention was to sink the ship and kill everybody who was on board. Joining me today are 3 brave veterans who survived the Israeli attack, and it's an honor to welcome them. We'll start with Mr. William Michael LeMay, known to his friends as Mickey. He was 22 years old, second-class electrician's mate in charge of the Liberty's electrical department. Mickey, welcome. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Mr. Robert Allen Scarborough joined the Navy at age 21 in 1966. He was a communications technician on the USS Liberty. Bob, welcome. Glad to have you here on today's show.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor to have you here.
Appreciate it.
And Mr. Larry Brown is also here with us. Larry was a second-class communications technician after the USS Liberty massacre. Larry served 40 years at the NSA. Larry, welcome. Glad to have you here, sir.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you, True News, for all your support today and through the week for all of us.
Yes, sir.
It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege to have you gentlemen here. And if you did not see our episode yesterday, please watch part 1 and get this 2-part show out to everybody. Tell everybody about it. The whole world needs to know the truth about the Liberty. But the reason that these men are here, along with Phil Turney and Dave Gahari, is that there's a new book that tells the story. It's titled Erasing the Liberty. And it's the battle to keep alive the memory of Israel's massacre on the USS Liberty, Erasing the Liberty. And the website for the book is erasingtheliberty.com. And so this is the true story of these men, which has never been told. It's never been told. This is the most suppressed story in America, other than the truth about 9/11. And we had American servicemen who were killed. We had nearly 200 wounded, severely wounded, and the ship was to pieces, and yet the American government ordered Washington, originating from the White House and the Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara, and the President, Lyndon Baines Johnson, ordering the U.S. military to stand down and not rescue these men while they were under attack by Israel. Admiral McCain, the father of Senator John McCain, played a major role in this story, covering up the truth. And the truth has been suppressed. As we heard yesterday from Phil Turney, he was ordered by an admiral never to talk, threatened with imprisonment, even death, if he ever told a relative about what happened on June 8, 1967. It's shocking. It's just absolutely shocking. The Liberty is the most decorated American naval ship in history of this country for a single action. And every American citizen should know about what happened. And we should be honoring the veterans who survived that massacre. And it was a massacre.
Can we show the audience, just to start off right off the bat, the decorations?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's put that graphic up. Here you go, Rick.
208 Purple Hearts, 1 Medal of Honor, 2 Navy Crosses, 12 Silver Stars, 26 Bronze Stars with Valor, 9 Navy Commendations. And yet your story has been suppressed. It is an outrage. And the only reason it's been suppressed is there's one reason. Because the Israelis don't want the American people to know what happened. What I want you men to do today is simply tell our audience what happened, what you saw, what you heard, what you experienced, and how it impacted you. Now, let's see, 2 of you were CTs, right?
That would be Bob and myself.
You 2 were communication technicians, right? You were in the electrical department, right?
We might want to tell the audience what the CTs were, and there was kind of a division on the boat of, they called them spooks, spies. They would listen to codes, and the shipmen, is that how would you? Ship's company. And the 2 kind of separated. There was not fraternation of the 2, and they kept their distance because...
So you kept the ship running.
Correct.
While these guys were doing their mission.
Correct.
That's right? Okay.
Pretty much.
All right, so the mission of the...
So, you can watch the video. It's on True News. And the title is USS Liberty Incident. But this is Esau Edom talking about their own nation. So this is Edomites against Edomites. Okay? But it said Israel was the one that bombed the USS Liberty, man. Okay? Israel. The same Edomites that they joined to today, man. North America is joined to these Edomites, man. Okay? So I'm going to go to and play this.
Yes, Mr. President. John Bolton wants to get... The president has told people around him this week that John Bolton wants to get him, quote, into a war. Bolton, you'll remember, led the cheering for the Iraq invasion in 2003. He supported the overthrow of Gaddafi in Libya a couple years later. He pushed for preemptive strikes on Iran and North Korea. He's advocated for regime change in Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua. Yes, Mr. President, John Bolton does want to get you into a war. It's all he wants. It's what he dreams about. Many wars, if possible. And if you're not careful, he'll do it.
The U.S. sending an aircraft carrier group to the Middle East to send what it calls a clear message to Iran.
These Edomites gotta be put down, man. They are the devil, man.
Do you remember I always used to say, keep the oil. I wasn't a fan of Iraq. I don't want to go into Iraq. But I will tell you, we should have kept the oil. Maybe you'll have another chance.
These Edomites are the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Last September, National Security Advisor John Bolton asked the Pentagon to provide military options on striking Iran.
Breaking news this morning, the U.S. National Security Council, which is led by John Bolton, asked the Pentagon to provide the White House with military options to strike Iran last year. Now let's listen to the Secretary of State.
We will not let Iran get away with using a proxy force to attack an American interest. Iran will be held accountable.
Saddam Hussein and his regime have made no effort to disarm as required by the international community. Indeed, the facts and Iraq's behavior show that Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously. We can't let the world's worst leaders blackmail, threaten, hold freedom-loving nations hostage with the world's worst weapons.
America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail.
And this is Trump saying the same thing Bush said.
American cities to be threatened with destruction. And we will not allow a regime that chants death to America to gain access to the most deadly weapons on earth. The United States
death is coming to America, man.
From the
Thus saith the Lord.
Nuclear deal.
Congressional rejection of this deal leaves any U.S. administration that is absolutely committed to preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon with one option: another war in the Middle East.
It is how my ass nigga here.
Regime change in Iran. The declared policy of the United States should be regime change in Iran.
It's a show of U.S. military power and muscle. B-52 bombers headed to the Middle East alongside the USS Lincoln Carrier Group.
All they want is take over oil, man.
Incumbent on every country to join our efforts to change the regime's lawless behavior. We want every single country on board. This is among the president's top diplomatic priorities.
And also to watch over Iran. We'll be watching.
This past week, we have voted twice on a bill strengthening America's presence in the Middle East. And this includes legislation that is vitally important to Israel, our greatest ally.
Now, they talking about Israel. They talking about Israel is their greatest ally, but Israel bombed y'all ass in 1967, man. Okay? And this is what you call double-minded, man. Double-minded people, man, are unstable in all their ways, man. Now they talking about Israel is their greatest ally. Their greatest ally, but they bombed y'all in 1967, man. That don't make no sense, man. But this is Mark 3:25, man. Okay? The house of Satan shall be divided, man, against itself. This is Edomites against Edomites, man. And this shows you how double-minded these Edomites are.
My friend,
Look at this devil.
congratulations on being elected President of the United States.
Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew.
You are a great friend of Israel. Over the years, you've expressed your support consistently, and I deeply appreciate it. The two of us, working closely together, will bring the great alliance
To bring North America to its knees.
greater heights. May God bless our enduring alliance.
They talking about working together to bring Babylon the Great to her knees. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The son of perdition. The man of sin, the son of perdition. Okay? The vessels of wrath that was created for destruction, man. So Revelation 11:18, the Lord say, he will destroy them who's destroying the earth, man. The Edomites gonna play. They're gonna pay with blood.
Who had served as Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, exposed to the world that the U.S. invasion of Iraq was just the beginning, and the real prize was Iran.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you gotta come in. You gotta come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper. He said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Devils, man. Now he straight up said they whole plan.
American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
The Gaddafi regime has come to an end. The last major regime strongholds have fallen. The new government is consolidating the control over the country. And one of the world's longest-serving dictators is no more.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
President Trump announcing that for the first time the United States has taken direct military action against the Syrian regime. The U.S. striking a terror target, an unmanned drone hitting al-Shabaab militants in Somalia.
The objectives of the regime are not going to change, and therefore the only solution is to change the regime itself. And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
Starting with Iraq.
So I got one precept to go with what he just said. I'm going to play it back.
The new government is consolidating the control over the country. And one of the world's longest-serving dictators is no more.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
President Trump announcing that for the first time the United States has taken direct military action against the Syrian regime. The U.S. striking a terror target, an unmanned drone hitting al-Shabaab militants in Somalia.
The objectives of the regime are not going to change, and therefore the only solution is to change the regime itself. And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
Oh, Salakia. I ain't go back farther enough. Right here to this devil Bush.
This hour, coalition forces are in the early stages.
Let me go back. Salakia. You gotta play this.
We don't know what to do about terrorists, but we got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said,
Hold on, back up a little bit more so you brothers can hear this.
the 20th of September. So I said, well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda? He said, no. He says, there's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq. He said, I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail. So I came
So basically, he just said that they said that North America is a hammer, okay? That they are a hammer, man. This is what the scriptures say. Hey, man, you can't make this up, man. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23, and it reads, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. So there, North America is not aware of what's coming to their ass, man. Okay? Calling itself the hammer, man. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striving against the Lord Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua. The Lord Yahweh have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. So, how was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder, man? And he just told you that they represent the hammer, man. Okay, I'm going to play it back one more time.
we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail.
There it is.
So I came back
Jeremiah
to see him a few
15:23.
weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper. He said, I just got this down from upstairs from the Secretary of Defense office today. And he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
The Gaddafi regime has come to an end. The last major regime strongholds have fallen. The new government is consolidating the control over the country. And one of the world's longest-serving dictators is no more.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
President Trump announcing that for the first time the United States has taken direct military action against the Syrian regime. The U.S. striking a terror target, an unmanned drone hitting al-Shabaab militants in Somalia.
The objectives of the regime are not going to change, and therefore the only solution is to change the regime itself. And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you.
Hey, this is the work of the devil, man.
Starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Business confidence is at an all-time high. The stock market has smashed
where the Russian, Chinese, and Mongolian borders meet.
We have some ideas that are more than ideas that are going to be just. We like to win. We like to win. We're going to win. surest way to preserve the peace is to be prepared for combat. And the surest way to prevent conflict is to be totally unyielding and totally ready for conflict. If that should happen, America is a peace-loving nation. But rest assured,
No, it's not.
we are forced to fight. We will engage the enemy with overwhelming force, like never before, like nobody's ever seen before.
America was built on corruption, man. Okay? Numbers 35 and 33, man. North America was built on corruption. Habakkuk 2 and 12. These Edomites don't love nothing, man, but destruction and death, man.
Reassuring allies and talking tough on enemies. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
These devils don't love nothing, man. Okay? But death, man. They are the harbingers of death, man. Okay? Habakkuk said they are as death and cannot be satisfied, man. Because all this is about is oil.
Welcome back again, everyone. It's Dina Cowmed here with CWW7 News. And for today's broadcast, I would like to bring you a review concerning the many headlines that have occurred in the last few days, just to get you caught up on some of these events. And we definitely have a lot to talk about today. So for our first headline, I'd like to talk about the United States and Iran. Reuters is reporting that Iran has stated that they will defend itself against any aggression. Iran's foreign minister called on European states to do more to preserve a nuclear agreement his country has signed, stating that Iran will defend itself against any military or economic aggression. Speaking at a Baghdad news conference with his Iraqi counterpart, Mohammed al-Hakim Zarif said Iran wanted to build balanced relations with its Gulf Arab neighbors and had proposed signing a non-aggression pact. Hakim has stated that Iraq stands with Iran and is willing to act as an intermediary between its neighbors and the United States, also stating that Baghdad does not believe an economic blockade is fruitful. We are saying very clearly and honestly that we oppose the unilateral actions taken by the United States. We stand with the Islamic Republic of Iran in its position. Meanwhile, the Times of Israel is reporting the Iranian foreign minister stated over the weekend that the United States' decision to deploy 1,500 additional troops to the Middle East was a threat to global peace and stability. He said increased U.S. presence in our region is very dangerous and a threat to global peace and stability and must be confronted. However, Washington says that the reinforcements, which come after the deployment earlier this month of an aircraft carrier task force, B-52 bombers, an assault ship and missile defense system, are in response to a campaign of recent attacks approved by Iran's top leadership. But Zarif stated that Americans make such claims to justify their hostile policies and to create tension in the Persian Gulf. Meanwhile, a top Iranian military commander warned that the country would employ secret weapons to destroy American naval forces in the Persian Gulf if they initiate hostilities. The general stated that America is sending 2 warships to the region. If they commit the slightest stupidity, we will send these ships to the bottom of the sea, along with their crew and planes using 2 missiles or 2 secret weapons. Another senior commander stated that rational Americans and their experienced commanders will not let their radical elements lead them into a situation from which it would be very difficult to get out. And that is why they will not enter a war. Trump, however, in recent weeks alternated between tough talk toward Iran and a more conciliatory message, insisting he is open to negotiations with the Islamic Republic. He seemed to downplay the prospect of conflict when he spoke at the White House, stating that right now, I don't think Iran wants to fight, and I certainly don't think they want to fight with us. Finally, reports that the United States has about 70,000 troops across the Middle East, including at a major naval base in Bahrain and an Air Force base and operations center in Qatar. There are about 1,500 troops in Iraq and 2,000 in Syria.
Obadiah 1 and 7, man. The pride of thy heart have deceived thee, man. You Edomites have been sadly deceived, man.
So tensions are definitely still very high between the United States and Iran. But speaking of tensions, the Jerusalem Post is reporting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that the IAF destroyed a Syrian launcher that fired an anti-aircraft missile at an Israeli plane. Netanyahu stated that a short time ago, the Syrian army tried to hit an Israeli plane, but it did not succeed. The Air Force, in response, destroyed the launcher from which the missile was fired. Our policy is clear. We will not tolerate any aggression against us, and we will respond to it with force and firmness. It goes on for
Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashai. Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. So you have been deceived, man, by your own pride, man. Okay, the Lord is going to bring you down with these other nations.
further to report that an IDF spokesman said the Syrian missile did not hit the Israeli aircraft, which was conducting a routine flight over northern Israel, and fell within Syrian territory. The mission was completed as planned, stated the IDF. Meanwhile, Syria's media reported that a military source confirmed that Israeli enemy targeted one of our military positions. The source explained that the aggression resulted in the martyr's death and wounding another fighter. According to the Syrian media, the strike took place very close to the Golan border. The attempt represents an escalation on the Syrian side. It is not the first time that Syria anti-aircraft missiles have targeted Israel, nor the first time they have been detected heading toward Israeli airspace. So definitely a very tense situation between Israel and Syria. And I will continue to follow these reports and bring you updates. But I would like to switch gears and talk about a speech Vice President Mike Pence gave to West Point graduates on Saturday. I found it very interesting, so I would like to share the story with you. And this comes from Fox News. Vice President Pence told West Point's most diverse graduating class in history that they will go to war for America at some point in their life. The Vice President addressed the U.S. Military Academy's 2019 graduating class of more than 980 cadets at the institution's 221st commencement on Saturday morning. He said it is a virtual certainty that you will fight on a battlefield for America at some point in your life. You will lead soldiers in combat. It will happen. Some of you will join the fight against radical Islamic terrorists in Afghanistan and Iraq. And some of you will join the fight on the Korean Peninsula and in the Indo-Pacific, where North Korea continues to threaten the peace. And an increasingly militarized China challenges our presence in the region. Some of you will join the fight in Europe, where an aggressive Russia seeks to redraw international boundaries by force. And some of you may even be called upon to serve in this hemisphere. And when that day comes, I know you will move to the sound of the guns and do your duty. And you will fight, and you will win. The American people expect.
You hear that, Proud? Pence tell them they gonna win. No, they ain't. They ass gonna die over there, man. And tell you to enjoy the second chapter. That all you mighty men and you so-called mighty women, you gonna die, man. You gonna die in war, man. Okay? All these young, dumb punks, these Jakes, these Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans that's going to fight for their so-called country, you gonna die in the Middle East, man. Okay? You ain't coming back, man. You're gonna die, man. Thus saith the Lord.
Nothing less. The graduating class, their families, and other attendees also heard Pence say, as you accept the mantle of leadership, I promise you, your commander-in-chief will always have your back. President Donald Trump is the best friend the men and women of our armed forces will ever have. During his remarks, Pence noted that President Trump has proposed a $750 billion defense budget for 2020 and said the United States is once again embracing our role as the leader of the free world. In every
Hey, the Lord say, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, man. Meaning invest in your nuclear capability, man. In your ICBMs, man. Okay? $750 billion. Yeah. Going into war, man, so you can die. Grievous deaths.
Scenario that the Vice President spoke of in regards to a conflict is all very possible, including the Middle East, North Korea, Russia, and China. There is no denying that we have seen tensions flare in recent years between these nations. I have reported on it as well as others. But I think is what is concerning, or maybe even prophetic, is that he didn't say if they would fight, but that it is a certainty that a conflict would arise with any of these nations.
Right.
It just goes to prove that there is definitely more evidence of the prophecy, wars and rumors of wars. And with that said, I would like to move on and talk about Russia just briefly. It is being reported that apparently Russian military inspectors will hold observation flights over the United States this week. A group of Russian military inspectors will carry out this week an observation flight over the territory of the United States within the frames of the International Open Skies Treaty. The head of the Russian Defense Ministry's National Nuclear Risk Reduction Center said the observation flight over the United States would be carried out between May 22nd and June 3rd. The observation mission of the Russian inspectors will start from the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and the estimated flight range stands at over 3,000 miles. It will be Russia's second observation flight over the territory of the United States this month, within the frames of the Open Skies Treaty. The first inspection mission was held between May 12th and the 20th. The Open Skies Treaty was signed in 1992 and has 34 member states. It entered into force in 2002. Surveillance flights are conducted over Russia, the United States, Canada, and the European countries. The key tasks of the treaty are to develop transparency, monitor the fulfillment of armament control agreements, and expand capabilities to prevent crisis in the framework of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and other international organizations. When Russia conducted their last observation flight, they actually flew over Area 51. And it definitely seems in recent weeks that there is a lot of Russian flights near our skies. Just last week, they were conducting exercises near.
Hey, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 30. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord, man. Saith the Lord, Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? All you who fighting for these devils, you're going to die. Grievous deaths, man. You going to die, man. The Lord got all you fools in a trick bag, man. Okay? All you fools in a trick bag. You're going to die grievous deaths, man. Going to fight for your so-called country, man. You're going to die. You're going to die. Hey, man, these are the times of wars, man. Okay? There's so many rumors of wars going on right now in the news daily. You can't even keep up with them, man. You got famines going on. You got pestilences happening, man. Okay? Around the world, man. Famine is going on around the world, man. And you, Jake, still not convinced that Yahweh is about to send his son back real soon? Yahweh Shai finna come back in great glory, man. Okay? And he's finna get dirty, man. Isaiah 63. Who is this that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, man? Isaiah 34, man. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. It shall come down upon all of Idumea, which is you Edomites, man. So Lord's witness is edifying. Got to give our praise to Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Bahashim Yahweh the honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well. And a sincere salutation to all the ark and pushing the truth throughout the four winds of the earth, waking up the hope for the elect. Shalom to you, Akwarf, you sisters who are listening and learning. Amen. We is in the end days, man. We are in the end times. And the Lord say, these are the weapons of his indignation, man. And he judgeth all the day long, man. So for you 2/3 of you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you're going to be destroyed along with your slave master, the ones who you love, because you trust in oppression. and you are joined to them, to these Edomites, you're going to be destroyed, man. Okay? You will be destroyed. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. Lord's wisdom is edifying. Shalom.